So your notebook, your vocab notebook, should be open to a new clean page for our new chapter. And your textbook should be open to page 176. You can see the name of this chapter is New Places, New Faces. So that is the title of your notes for this week. So at the top of your clean page, in your notebook, you should have the title of the chapter, New Places, New Faces. And then today's date, which is September 29th, 2020. Then put your pencil down, put your notebook under your book, and look at page 176 and 177. So finish writing the title of the chapter at the top and today's date. Put your pencil down, put your notebook under your textbook, and then look at page 176 and 177. Make sure that you have copied it exactly as I have with the comma and the plural nouns. Places and faces are plural nouns. Go ahead and look at this picture. While you look at the picture and study the picture, I'm going to read the talk about it. I want you to think about your answers to these questions. Where do you think this is? Would you like your face to appear on this flag? Why or why not? Where do you think this is? Would you like your face to appear on this flag? Why or why not? Anybody have an idea? Where do you think this is? Zadie?
Where you go to vote.
Maybe. What makes you think that?
Because the American flag.
Okay. Any other ideas? Victoria? A history museum? Kingston? The White House? Aaron? Maybe Mexico? Carla?
Maybe in the United States.
Maybe. Hey, Zadie, and then we'll move on.
And adding to what I think it was a place where you vote is because I think all the people who voted are on the flag.
Maybe. So what this actually is, what did you just do? Do we know the answer to that? Does our book tell us the answer? What did you just do? Zari?
We just made inferences.
Very good. You just made inferences. That's what we're going to be focusing on this chapter. We've been making inferences this whole time, but we're really going to be focusing on making inferences today. So, what this picture actually is, which you don't know, but I do because my book tells me, is this is a picture at Ellis Island. Who knows what Ellis Island is? Does anybody know what Ellis Island is? You do, Kingston? It's a place in New York City where a long time ago, many immigrants who sailed across the ocean from like Europe would come through Ellis Island, and that's where they would get their things in order to become a citizen. My grandmother and my great-grandmother actually came through Ellis Island when they moved to America in the 1920s. So knowing that this picture was taken at Ellis Island, and that's a place where many immigrants came into America for the very first time, who do you think these pictures are of? Who do you think these pictures are of? Ethan? Good. What are those called? People who came to America. What are those called? Starts with an I. Kingston, can you help him out? Immigrants. Very good. Immigrants are people who move to America for some reason or other. Very good. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Well, you don't have to turn the page yet, actually, because we're going to do vocab first, and I don't want you to be distracted. So, we have 7 words. So, Aaron, you'll do the first 4. You'll do numbers 1 through 4. Cullen, you'll do 5, 6, and 7. You'll do the last 3. So, number 1, Aaron, this is your word. Overheard. This is one word. Overheard. It is one word. There is no space. I know it kind of looks like maybe I have a little space, but that was just an accident. It is one word. Overheard. It is a verb, which means it's an action. In this case, it's past tense, so it already happened. I forgot to make it not past tense, but whatever. Over here would be the present tense. It's a verb. It means to listen to someone without them knowing. So overheard, overheard, is a verb. It's a past tense verb. That means it already happened in the past. And it means to listen to someone without them knowing. Remember, if you have questions about how to spell any of the words in the definition, make sure to raise your hand. Other than that, please, hands down unless it's an emergency. In context, Kevin overheard his parents discussing their vacation. So he heard them talking about it, but they didn't know he was listening, so he overheard it. Number 2 is the word opportunity. 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 Opportunity is a noun. That means it's a person, place, thing, or idea. Yes, Kingston? OPPORTUNITY. OPPORTUNITY. It is a noun, and it is a chance to do something. So an opportunity is a noun. It is a chance to do something. How would I make opportunity plural? Zari?
Opportunities.
How would I do that, though? How would I write that? I know how I would say it, but how would I write it? Michaela?
You would capitalize the O.
I'm making it plural, not proper. Opportunity is never a proper noun unless it's the name of something. So I'm asking about plural, Michaela, not proper. What's plural? What's a plural noun? What does a plural noun mean? Michaela, what does it mean? Singular means how many? Plural means or. It just means more than one. So how would I make opportunity plural? I would never make opportunity proper by making it capital unless it was the name of something. Aaron, how would I make opportunity plural?
You would drop the Y.
I would take off the Y,
Put an I. And
change it to an I,
and then add ES.
and then add ES. Good, because it ends with a.
Y.
What comes before the Y, though?
T.
Which is a.
Not a vowel.
What is that word called when it's not a vowel? Who can help her out? What is that word called when a letter is not a vowel? Kingston? A consonant. So it ends with consonant Y, which means we have to drop the Y, turn it into an I, and add ES. Good. So in context, Dahlia had many opportunities to play soccer. Number 3 is the word border. Border. B-O-R-D-E-R. Border. Border is a noun. In this case, a thing. And it is a boundary line that shows how land is separated into units. So a border, B-O-R-D-E-R, is a noun. It's a thing in this case. It's a boundary line that shows how land is separated into units. So like countries, counties, cities, townships, neighborhoods, whatever. Yes, Colin.
How do you spell boundary?
B-O-U-N-D-A-R-Y is boundary. So in context, the border between Canada and the United States is long. So they're talking about that boundary line that shows how the land is separated into two countries. The border between Canada and the United States is long. And that's border, which is a noun. Aaron, this is your last word. Number 4 is union. Union. U-N-I-O-N. Union. Union is another noun. It is a thing. A union is a group of workers who unite to improve conditions. A union, U-N-I-O-N, is a noun. It's a thing. It's a group of workers who unite to improve conditions. Do you see how in union you see a little bit of the word unite? That's how you can tell a union has something to do with uniting. So it's a group of workers who unite, they get together, to improve conditions. In context, unions often help workers get better health care or wages. Union, U-N-I-O-N. It is a noun. It's a group of workers who unite to improve conditions. So Aaron, those are your 4 words. Anything you need me to spell for you? Okay. Colin, here's where your words start. Number 5 is the word strike. Strike. S-T-R-I-K-E. Strike. Now you may think of it as a verb that means to like hit something, but the way we're going to use it today is as a noun. We're going to use it as a noun, as a thing. And what it is a time when workers refuse to work. A time when workers refuse to work until owners, so the owners of that business, improve job conditions. So a strike, S-T-R-I-K-E, is a noun. It is a time when workers refuse to work until owners improve job conditions. So in context, strikes make points about unfair conditions. Strike. It is a noun. It is a time when workers refuse to work until owners improve job conditions. You're going to erase number 1 and 2. Everybody should be past those by now. Remember, if you need me to spell something, even if it's not your word to write on a card, make sure to ask me. Number 6 is the word citizen. Citizen. C-I-T-I-Z-E-N. Citizen is a noun. It's a person. Oops, not a W. It is a person. So a citizen, C-I-T-I-Z-E-N, is a noun. It is a person who pledges, make sure you spell pledges right, there is a D in that word, who pledges to be loyal to a country. So a person who pledges to be loyal to a country and has rights from that country. So a citizen is a noun. It's a person because it's a person who pledges to be loyal to a country and has rights from that country. So in context, voting is a right of any citizen in a democratic country. Citizen. Yes, Cullen.
How do you spell pledges?
Pledges. P-L-E-D-G-E-S. Can I erase number 3? Keep writing number 6 if you're not finished yet. Yes, they.
But don't you have to be a certain age to vote?
Yes. But still, if you're a citizen of a country, once you are that age, you have that right. So if you are a citizen of America, even if you're under 18, you still have the right to vote when you turn 18. Yes, Kingston, quickly.
It's about, what about anyone who's at the age of, not 18 can just vote?
Well then, people under 18 just don't have the mental, some do, but not all of them, not enough of them have the mental capacity to understand their decision and their choice. Usually when they're under 18, they're kind of making it because that's what their parents say, rather than because that's what they want. So, last word, number 7, is the word boycott. Boycott. Even though this word has the word boy in it, it is not a compound word because C-O-T-T is not a word. Boycott. B-O-Y-C-O-T-T. Remember, that is not a compound word because boy is a word, but C-O-T-T is not. Boycott. It is another noun. It's a thing. And it is a refusal to buy products as a way to protest. As a way to protest unfair prices or treatment. So boycott, B-O-Y-C-O-T-T, is a noun. It is a refusal to buy products as a way to protest unfair prices or unfair treatment. So back when Martin Luther King was alive and they did the bus boycott. That means they refused to pay to ride the bus because of the unfair treatment that they received. Sometimes your parents may have a little mini boycott every time you go to the grocery store. You may like one cereal, but they say, I'm not buying that because it's too expensive. Well, it's a little mini boycott because they think that's an unfair price. So in context, our boycotts made the company change its policies. So sometimes boycotts are about prices, sometimes it's about the treatment of workers or treatment of people by workers. Okay, so Cullen, you're doing number 5, 6, and 7. Aaron, you're doing number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so like I said, in this chapter, the skill we're really going to be working on is making inferences. So what we're doing is we're making educated guesses based on what we read. Now it's going to be, our answers are going to come from what we read. They're going to come from what we already know. They might even come from what we think. So we're going to fill out this inference chart as we go. So what we do is we're going to come up with the clues as we read. Once we come up with all the clues, then we're going to make an inference based on that. Making inferences requires you asking yourself, is this important? And why is it important? Because once you know why it's important, then you can say either, yes, I need to include it as a clue, I'm going to need to think about this later, or no, it's probably okay for now, I can leave that alone. So, go ahead and, so let's think. So as you're reading, you can generate or come up with questions about what you're reading. You're going to ask yourself, what is happening right now? While you're reading, you're going to pause every few sentences and think, what is happening right now? What might happen next because of this? That is what's going to help you make inferences, which is what's going to help you to really comprehend and understand what you're reading. If you're having trouble thinking of the answer to those questions that you're asking yourself, well, ask questions about the details of the story. Once you're able to do this, you're going to be able to make inferences or draw conclusions about what's going on, which is really going to make you understand and comprehend what you're reading. So good readers do this by looking at what the author has written, but by also thinking about their own experiences and their own life, or the experiences of people around them. So, for example, the author may tell a few things that the character is thinking or doing. But you may have done something similar or reacted to something similar or had something similar happen to you. And so you can use that experience to predict what's going to happen next. Or if you haven't had it happen to you, maybe it's happened to a friend. Maybe you've read a book where something like this happened, or you read a story where something like this happened. Just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean you've never heard of it before. You may have heard of it from a friend, from a family member, on the news, in a book you read, in an article you read, in a comic book you read, whatever. So that's what we're going to do as we read Mexico, My New Home on page 178. So, go ahead. Everybody should have their face shields on. If you do not, you will not get to read. Zadie, go ahead and read, starting with the title and the author. Loud and slow.
Mexico, My New Home by Harold Johnson.
Pause for a second. Make sure that you are reading along in your book. Otherwise, none of this is going to make any sense to you. Okay, Zadie, you just finished the title and the author. Go ahead and read the first block of text, that very small block of text, and then the one that comes right after. So that first paragraph.
Dear Grandpa, remember when Mom and Dad thought I was asleep and I overheard them talking about moving to Mexico? You said that it would be an adventure. You were right.
Okay, pause. Let's think about that first paragraph. I can infer, which means I can make an inference, that Paul has probably written a letter to his grandpa before about moving to Mexico. How can I make that inference? What tells me that they have talked before about moving to Mexico? What happened? What was said in that very first paragraph that tells me, okay, Paul and his grandpa have talked before. Sorry, the kid's name is Paul. What tells you in that very first paragraph that Paul and his grandpa have talked about this before, about this move to Mexico? Victoria.
Remember when Mom and Dad thought I was asleep and I overheard them talking?
That just means he heard them talking. But what in that paragraph tells you he has talked to his grandpa about this? Aaron?
It says that his
Louder.
It says that his grandpa said you said that it would be an adventure.
Very good. That sentence. You said it would be an adventure. Well, would you say that if you never talked to somebody before about something? No. Because then you'd just be making words up. You'd be putting words in their mouth. But no, that sentence, you said it would be an adventure, says that Paul has talked to his grandpa before about moving to Mexico. What isn't being said that would tell you that he talked to his grandpa? Well, think about your life. If you have a grandpa, when something exciting or scary is going on, does he usually know about it? Can you talk to him about something exciting that's going on, maybe at school or in your life? Yes, most people do talk to their grandparents about things that are going on in their life. So we can make an inference that they've talked before about this, both because it's in the text, you said that it would be an adventure, but also in real life, people talk to their grandparents about things that are going on in their life. If you have grandparents that you talk to, that you're close with, you're going to talk to them about things that are going on in their lives. Now, do we know what kind of person Paul is by reading that first paragraph? No, but we do know he's the main character, right? Because he was mentioned right away. Didn't say his name, but I'm telling you his name. But we know he's the main character because if you're writing a letter, who's going to be the main character of that letter? If you're writing to tell somebody about something that you're doing. Who's going to be the main character? Michaela? You. You're writing a letter to tell somebody about what's going on in your life. So, of course, you're going to be the main character. So what we're doing when we read this story is that we are going to make an inference, an educated guess, draw a conclusion about what type of person Paul is. So we're going to find clues that tell us his reaction to things to figure out, what is this kid like? What's his personality like? So this very first paragraph tells me something. It says, well, actually let's read the second paragraph. So thank you, Zadie. Please read the next paragraph, Victoria. Just that next small block of text.
I was
little louder and a little slower.
I was a little scared when we left.
That E is silent. The E is silent. Maine. What is Maine? What is Maine? Smith?
I'm pretty sure it's a state.
It is a state. And remember, you're going to have a states test the Friday before Thanksgiving break. So make sure you're starting to study those. Okay? Keep going, Victoria.
All my friends
A
were
little
there.
louder.
All my friends were there living. All my friends were there. Living in Mexico is very different, but I'm starting to like it a lot.
So let's look at those first two paragraphs. What are some clues as to what Paul is like? When we're trying to find clues, we're looking at characters' reactions to things. So what was Paul's reaction? What was his first reaction to this big change in his life, this move to Mexico? What was his first reaction? Now, the first reaction isn't necessarily the first one we read. So we have to figure out, when he first found out they were moving to Mexico, how did he feel? Ethan? He felt scared. So, our first clue is going to start with Paul was nervous about, and we'll just say Mexico, because we know we mean moving to Mexico. But is that all those first two paragraphs tell us about Paul's reaction? No. He was nervous, but what else do those first two paragraphs say about Paul's reaction to this move? Zadie?
He was sad.
Well, he was nervous. Doesn't really say sad, but we could probably infer. But what else? So that's kind of the same feeling. Nervous. Usually if you're nervous, you might also be a little sad. But then it says something else. Do his feelings stay the same? Does he stay nervous and kind of sad about Mexico? Zari?
No.
No. How does he feel now?
He's getting used to it, and he's kind of more like, hey, I found this. I think it's much cooler.
Very good. The first paragraph tells us, both paragraphs tell us, he's not so nervous and scared anymore. Zari, you're not supposed to be using that during class. You should not even, it really shouldn't even be on during the school day. So at first he's nervous, but now he's getting used to it. He's liking it. He sees it as a what? Look at that first paragraph. He sees it as a what? Kingston? Not opportunity. Look at that first paragraph. Michaela? He sees it as an adventure. So Paul was nervous about Mexico, comma, because that's an independent clause. I'm about to use the conjunction but, and follow it with another independent clause. So that means I have to have a comma, otherwise it's a run-on sentence. I keep commenting this and taking points off for people not doing this, but they're really not paying attention because they keep doing it, which means they're going to keep losing points. And after the first semester, it'll be a whole point each time. So Paul was nervous about Mexico, comma, but now he sees it as an adventure. So that's our first clue to what kind of person Paul is. But does that tell us enough? No. So let's keep reading to make an inference about what kind of person Paul is. Victoria, go ahead and read that next paragraph, that last paragraph or block of text on page 178.
Guess what? I ate my first tamale.
Tamale. Little louder.
Tamale.
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 Tamale. Like Molly with ta before it. Tamale.
Do you know what that is?
A little louder.
Do you know what that is? When When I saw it, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure I wanted to find out. But it was good. It's cornmeal wrapped in corn husks and steamed.
Very good. Read the next paragraph. Carla, loud and slow. Just the next block of text. So stop when you get to the next little indentation.
The farmer were working.
We're not there yet, Carla. Please make sure that you're paying attention and following along. We haven't gotten there yet.
I have many important.
That's not the word important. And you skip the word had. You can't skip words, Carla. Use your finger to follow, and do not read a word until you point to it. That's one of our vocabulary words. It's not the word important.
I had many opportunities.
What is
To
that
try
word?
new
Carla?
food.
Carla? That starts with an O, so you said a short I sound. But an O, this O has short O sound. So it's not ip. It's what? It's not ip opportunities. It's, what does short O sound like?
Oh,
Nope, that's long O. Can somebody help her out? What does short O sound like? You have to say it loud. Colin, since you're right next to the computer. Ah. So Carla, what is that word?
opportunities.
Opportunities. So start again. Make sure you read every word. You're skipping have and had. You have to read both.
I have had many opportunities to try new foods. But sometimes I go to my favorite fast food place. So it was not a total different world. We actually live less than 100 miles from the United States Mexico border.
Okay. So in those two paragraphs, what is he talking about? What is he doing that's brand new to him? In the paragraph Victoria read last and the paragraph that Carla just read, what is he doing? Smith.
He's trying new food from a different type of culture.
Good. So he's trying new foods. And how is he feeling about those new foods, Smith?
He feels pretty good about them.
He likes
thinks they
them.
taste pretty good.
He says they taste good. He still likes to go to his favorite places, but he's enjoying the new food. So Smith, what can our next clue about the type of person Paul is be based on those two paragraphs? Paul does
Paul
what?
tries new foods.
And how does he feel about trying new foods? Is he like, oh, no, I'm not going to try new foods. That's gross. Does he hate
feels
it?
good about trying new foods.
So Paul likes trying new foods, comma, but he does what? So what's the opposite that he still does? He enjoys trying the new foods, but he also does what? That's different. Michaela?
He also likes his other food.
But he still eats his old favorites. So he likes trying the new foods. He's fine with it. He enjoys them. But he still likes to eat his old favorites too. Okay, thank you, Carla. Go ahead and read next. Smith. Loud and slow.
The farmers here work very hard but don't make much money to support their families. Some farmers join unions, organizations just for them, to protect their rights. Sometimes there are strikes and people stop working, hoping that will make a difference.
Thank you, Smith. Go ahead and read next. Michaela, loud and slow so that we can all hear you.
Farmers are asking every citizen not to buy
Not products.
produce
Produce.
that comes from outside Mexico. They hope these boycotts will improve conditions.
Good. So in those two paragraphs, what have we learned about what Paul has done? What have we learned about Paul in these two paragraphs? We have learned about the farmers and their rights and their lives, but what have we learned about Paul in these two paragraphs? Remember that Paul is writing this letter. So what have we learned about Paul in those two paragraphs where he talks about the farmers and their rights and their lives? Well, did he make that up? So what does that mean he did? Zari?
When he learned about him, he probably wanted to share it with his grandpa.
Okay, well that's what he's doing now, but what did he have to do in order to be able? You said it, Zari. What did he have to do to be able to share it with his grandpa?
He had to learn it.
Good. So Paul took the time to learn about the farmers. Pay attention to how I write farmers. Notice I write farmers as in a plural for farmer with an apostrophe after the S. We will learn about that in a couple weeks. So notice how the apostrophe is after the S, not before. So Paul took the time to learn about the farmers' lives. Are we kind of starting to see what kind of person Paul is by looking at these things? Yeah, but let's keep going because we're not quite done yet. Okay, thank you, Michaela. Read the last paragraph, Ethan, loud and slow.
I'm learning a lot.
A little louder.
I'm learning a lot about Mexican culture. Local parties are really important to me. There are fairs called fairs
Berries, it's a Spanish word, so I'm not exactly sure how to say it.
to celebrate. There's lots of music, dancing, and maybe when we visit we can go to a fair. Adios. Paul, or should I say adios?
Good. So that very last paragraph, Paul is talking about what? What is Paul talking about in that last paragraph? Victoria?
He's talking about like a festival,
Festival. Specifically what kind of festival?
a fair.
Feria, or a harvest festival. And how does he feel about it?
I think he really likes it.
So has it happened yet?
No.
How does he feel about this fair? Is he like, oh, that sounds boring?
Sounds like fun and exciting because he's dancing.
So Paul feels what about the fair? Paul is excited
And he probably will maybe go.
good about the harvest festivals, comma, because I'm about to put what they're called, or ferias. I'm not sure. I took French, and I was terrible with the accents. So good. So Paul is excited about this new opportunity to go to this new celebration that he would never have seen in the United States. So very good. So let's look at all of these clues. Paul was nervous about Mexico, but now he sees it as an adventure. Paul likes trying new foods, but he still eats his old favorites. Paul took the time to learn about the farmers' lives, and Paul is excited about the harvest festivals or ferias. So let's look at all those clues. Let's think about what else you read. Let's think about some real life experiences that you may have had or that you may have heard other people's have. And let's make an inference about what type of person Paul is. Use these clues to make an inference about what type of person Paul is. What does he do? What is he like? Michaela?
He's like, I'll try anything for once.
Good. So that's part of it. Paul likes trying new things. Perfect timing. What else? He likes trying new things and doing what? He likes trying new things and he likes Victoria.
He likes to learn new things, and I also need to go to bed.
Go quickly because we are done. And learning new things. So do you think if Paul is a person that likes trying and learning new things, is he going to enjoy life, or is he just going to move through it like, oh, let me just get this over with? Aaron?
He's gonna enjoy it.
He's going to enjoy it. So what should we strive? Who should we strive to be more like? Smith? Paul. Good. Because if you are a person who likes to try and learn new things, well then everything's going to be exciting to you. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to pass out the homework. We're going to look at it really quick, and then you're going to put it away. And then it should be time for... Okay, so let's look at the front of the homework first. The front is always the vocab. Everybody listen, the vocab is the front. You can tell because if you look at the bottom, the vocab has page 45. The back, the skill, has page 46. 45 comes before 46, so 45 is the front. So where does your name, number, and date go? Does it go on the skill side or the vocab side? Cullen?
Vocab.
The vocab side. Okay, everybody look at vocab. Everybody look at vocab. Says choose the correct word from the box to complete each sentence. You have a word bank. What does that mean about your spelling? Zadie.
You use the words in the word bank.
What does that mean about your spelling? Please listen to the question. Michaela?
You shouldn't use any words.
You should not misspell any of these words. It's right there. If you do, you lose half a point. Make sure, please make sure to read the sentences after you fill in the blank. Make sure to read the sentence after you fill in the blank to make sure it makes sense. Make sure that you look at the definitions of the words to make sure. Smith, make sure that you're focusing on what we're talking about. Make sure that you look at the definitions to make sure that it works. Some of you put verbs in places where only nouns can go. A verb is an action, so can you put it in a place where a person, place, thing, or idea is needed? No. So make sure you are using it correctly. For number 8, 9, and 10, you're going to write 3 brand new sentences that each use one vocabulary word. You're going to write 3 brand new sentences that each use one vocabulary word. Make sure you use the vocabulary word correctly. Again, if the vocabulary word is a verb and you use it where a noun needs to go, you are incorrect. Make sure that the sentence has enough detail so that it's clear, I know that you know what the word means. So you can't just say, I am a citizen, because that could mean I am a girl, I am a boy, I am a person, I am a kid, I am a grown-up. Make sure that you use enough detail to show that you know what the word means. Carla, I hope you're paying attention to what we're talking about and not playing with that toy. It shouldn't be out right now. It should be far, it should be not even near you. Okay, now look at the back. This is the skill side. The skill we're working on is making inferences. Make sure you read the box at the top. That box is going to help you. It's going to tell you exactly what making an inference is. It's going to give you an example. Once you have read the box at the top, even if you're reading it right now, what should you do right before you start your homework? Colin?
Write your name.
Well, please listen to the question I'm asking. You guys just raise your hand and you give me something, but you're not listening to the question I'm asking. Even if you're reading this box right now, what should you do right before you start your homework? Victoria? Okay, that's exactly what Cullen just said, which you were here, and I said that was wrong. You're not listening to the question. Listen to the question. Hands down and listen to the question. Even if you are reading this box right now, what should you do later before you start your homework? Zadie?
Read the box again.
Read the box again. The part of that question, even if you're reading the box right now, lets you know the answer to the question is not write your name. The answer to the question, even if you're reading the box right now, what are you going to do later, means the answer is read the box again. Then you're going to read the passage, and then you're going to answer the question. You're going to answer these questions about the passage. Everybody right now, add this extra direction. Even though you've been writing it, some of you still aren't doing this. And I just don't understand why. It is not anyone's fault but your own if you lose points for not following extra directions when they are written down on the page. Your extra direction is write, make sure you're writing this on the back, write in complete sentences for numbers 2 through 4. That means 2, 3, and 4. Once you're done writing that extra direction, go ahead and put your homework in your take-home folder. If you have vocab cards, put those in your take-home folder as well. And then stand up, push your chair in.